Hey guys, this is Editing Samantha refilming my intro because, to be honest, it sucked. Anyways, my name is Samantha. I am a content creator here on YouTube, creating videos around writing and reading. And right now I'm working on a project, my manuscript, that is a romantic dark fantasy that is about a girl who finds out she is a witch and dives into a world that is filled with warfare, and she's trying to navigate that world and figure out who she really is. So if you want to learn more about my project and my story, please keep watching and feel free to subscribe for more videos to come. Let's get into it. Today I wanted to talk about kind of some ways that you can get out of that creative funk, or what you would call writer's block, if you're ever feeling like, you know, you're stuck in your book or you haven't worked on it in a couple of months, and kind of some things that you can do to kind of get that like passion back for your writing. So a couple things. This actually happened to me this year. I had been working on my debut novel the year previous, and I had gotten quite a few words into it, probably about 25,000, and I kind of had a big life change, and after that I kind of fell off writing and wasn't interested in pursuing the writing anymore for quite a few months. So I had to kind of find a way to get back into that writing and kind of find that part of myself again, and these are some of the things that I did that kind of helped me get back into writing, and I hope that they're able to help you too. So the first suggestion that I have is to read the book that got you back into writing, or that got you into writing in the first place. Now this can be really helpful, and it's what I did. One of those books for me was A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Priory of the Orange Tree, and Fourth Wing. Now Fourth Wing isn't nearly like my book. It's written quite a bit differently, but just the like passion that I found with all of the dragons and like the plot, and it just gave me that will to like write my own book. And like these characters in these books, I wanted to be able to represent myself in a book, and that's kind of what got me into writing in the first place. So this can be a really helpful thing. Another suggestion would be to read your favorite book in the genre that your book is in. So that kind of like thrusts you back into the world, like especially if it's something like fantasy that you don't see in everyday life. Kind of finding that passion for it can be difficult because you're not living it in your everyday life. But when you throw yourself into another world, somebody else's world that they've created, it can help remind you why you created yours, and really give you that creativity back and what you might need to get back into your book. The second thing that I would suggest kind of goes along with that, and that is to watch a movie or a TV show that's in the genre of the book that you're writing. So if you're writing a romance, maybe watch a romantic comedy, kind of get that sort of, again, it's kind of like seeing someone else's creation and like finding the love for yours again, and like what you can do differently or what you liked about those things. Maybe it'll give you some ideas of like some tropes or some plot twists that you can put into your own book. So that can be a really helpful thing to do as well. And for me, that was like Game of Thrones, Witcher. Game of Thrones and Witcher were basically like what got me back into writing, because it's that like kind of dark, like big fantasy world kind of plot that they have going on, and that kind of reminded me of the love that I had. So the third thing can also be really helpful, and that's to create a new writing playlist. So it's something that I did as well. I went back, and I have Milanote, which if you haven't heard of, it's a great writing platform that you're able to kind of create your own boards. You can use it to mood board, to plan your book. I used it to like create my characters and do like a 3-act structure to get my book sort of planned. I'm a little bit of a plotter pantser in a way, and so kind of getting my book ready was a decent amount of plotting. And then once I got like a good chunk of like world building and character creation done, I just kind of pants the rest of my book out. And we'll talk about more of that later too. But creating a new writing playlist, I had in my Mila note like some songs that I was originally using to listen to while I was writing my book, and I just kind of picked some of those songs and created a like you go to Spotify, click on the song and say create radio, or something like that on your Spotify, and it'll like create a playlist of songs that are similar to that to give you new ideas for those songs. And really having the music playing while you're writing is really helpful to like dive you really into that world and get you into the mood to write. So I think music is always a really important thing as well while you're writing. Some people like writing in silence. Personally, I do not. I like having some background noise, or especially music that puts me in the mood of my world and what my characters are going through to really get me in touch with them. The fourth thing is to reread what you've already written. Now, this can also be really helpful, but a little bit tiring. Like I said, I had already written about 25,000 words, so it did take me a good chunk of time to reread what I had already written. And granted, I did do a little bit of revising while I was doing that, just for like little typos that I found or something that I had thought of that I wanted to add to my book. Of course, I will go through and do that again in my draft too, but rereading your book can reconnect you with your characters, reconnect you with your plot and your world, and give you an idea of where you were going with the book. Especially if you feel stuck like where you're writing, this is a really good one to do, because it can it puts you through the story again. So you're going through your story, understanding what you were thinking when you were writing, where you wanted to go with the book. And sometimes rereading that plot can spark new ideas for something that you want to maybe add later on, or something that you maybe had foreshadowed and you're like, oh, I forgot that I foreshadowed that and I need to put that into the book. And this one can really reconnect you with your characters, and it's really important to remember why you created the characters that you did and why you gave them the traits that you did. So like, for example, my character has a lot of my personality traits, and I really connect with her in that very personal way. So it was really easy to like reread the book and feel all of my feelings all over again about the things that were happening to my character, and really gave me an idea of where I wanted my character to grow and what I needed her to understand and to learn. And so this is also a really good one just to get you out of that stuck feeling. Number 5 is, if you are a pantser, to try plotting, and if you're a plotter, to try pantsing. Now this one really worked for me as well, because like I said, I'm kind of a plotter pantser, where I plot my book out from the beginning, but I don't go into detail like chapter by chapter. I just do a very vague 3-act structure and really delve deep into my characters. I'm very much a character-based writer. I want my characters to really come out in my book, and like that's the main focus, and kind of the plot comes along and like basically forms around the characters and what their journey is supposed to look like. So, but I was having trouble and I was stuck, so I decided to plot a chapter because I didn't know where I wanted my book to continue to go, because I had this kind of gap in between 2 plot points that I needed to create a little bit of a, not a barrier, but like I needed my character to grow a little bit more before she came along to this next plot point. So I decided to plot out a couple of chapters, and granted I didn't end up completely following the plotting, but it just gave me an idea of where I wanted to go, and I ended up creating an entire new character after kind of writing a little bit. So I'll be making a video about creating that character with me, probably coming next, so if you want to see that. But also, if you're a plotter, if you tend to plot out every chapter and you're just feeling stuck, just try pantsing. Just try sitting down and just writing what comes to your mind. especially if you're in draft 1, you can, or draft 0, if you do that, and then you can come back and revise it later and make it fit better into your story. But just to get some words down onto that paper, or I guess a screen, will give you that momentum to start writing. And then once you start writing, maybe you can go back to your plotting and be like, okay, this is what I wrote down, how can I make it work in my book? But just kind of sitting down and writing whatever comes to your mind is gonna really get those creative juices flowing. So the 6th thing is to try a different creative hobby. This one might not work for everyone. It did give me a little bit of a boost to get back into my creative journey, but it certainly wasn't what brought me back into writing, but I think it can definitely help to put you back in that mindset of creating something. Now that can be coloring, drawing, that'll really get your creative juices flowing in that part of your brain that loves to create. And another one that I tried was crocheting. I picked up crocheting. It's a great hobby. Once you learn how to do it, it's really easy to just start doing it, and while you're doing it, you can just think. Your mind just like empties, or you can think about whatever you want to think about, and it may draw you back to your book. You may come up with ideas while you're just sitting there crocheting a row, and so those can really be some helpful things. There are plenty of other creative hobbies out there. Those are just the ones that I was drawn to and worked for me. Now the last thing is a little bit different, and that's to talk to someone about your project or create something about your project. So create a creative platform, get yourself excited about your book, see how you want to show your book to other people, or talk about your project. Find somebody who's willing to listen and sit them down and be like, this is what I'm writing, this is what my characters are going through, you know, this is what I want the message of my book to be, the journey of my characters, and that will get you excited about your project again. Just talking about it to somebody can bring up all of those thoughts and those emotions that you originally had when you created this idea for the book. So getting reattached to the idea of your book by talking about it can be really, really helpful to kind of get you back, not necessarily into the mood of writing, but get you back into the thought process of like, I did love this book and this is working for me, and this is what I wanted to do with it. So those are some 7 things that you can use to kind of help get out of your creative funk or your writer's block per se, to help you get back into that project. I really hope that this was helpful for you guys, and that you'll be able to take maybe 1 or 2 things from what I mentioned and apply it to your own writing and be able to get back into your writing. Comment down below the genre of the writing project that you're working on or the book that you're currently reading. I would love to hear about it and to connect with you guys. I hope to see you guys again soon. Thanks.